Connect to real world. Connect to real world while learning and learn the smarter way. Let's make the real world as your teacher and absorb the concepts from them. For now, when we absorb the concepts from the real world, they get printed in the brain, but it's easy for us to learn. So coming back, we made a JSP last time and we were able to reflect the status for the JSP. And we were able to show the status as on or off, right? Now we added another switch, which is the top floor switch. And let's put this code so that we can expand it. So I go here, web app, inf, JSP, bulb.jsp. And I'm just going to replace the whole code here. Let's do a walkthrough through this code and see what is there. So last time we had only a ground floor switch. And this time we have a top floor switch. But actions are pretty much same. There is no much difference. When I click on the top floor switch, I call a function button 2. But note this time that for the button 2, I'm sending a value as false. And then when we go inside our bulb controller, this is our bulb controller. Observe the change in the logic here. When I give slash bulb status, I'm pulling this time 2 parameters at request parameters, ground floor switch and top floor switch. How do I differentiate that, whether the ground floor switch is pressed or top floor switch is pressed? This is a little tricky, but what exactly happens is that when you press just one button, we are getting status of both. That's what I've seen. So in order to overcome that, we are evaluating a status as false, status 1 as false, which we have mapped to top floor switch, and status we have matched to ground floor switch. So as soon as you click on top floor switch, your control is going to come here. As soon as you click on ground floor switch, your control is going to come here, right? So let's see, is it working first as we expected, right? So this is our code and we will run the bulb controller, right? Let's go to bulb controller. Let's go to our electric circuit loader. Let's run this. And after we run this, we're going to get a JSP loaded. And okay, so there is an issue here. Let's manage the issue first. Let's clean it. And then okay, so we started the Let's restart this. And after restart, let's see how the DSP comes up. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we're going to load this page from bulb details, correct? So let's revisit what we did, or just do a flashback of what we did. What we said is that we will take request parameters ground floor switch 1, request parameters top floor switch 1. Then we're going to differentiate both of the switches pressed based on the status 1 and status which are being binded for the request parameters. And then based on that, the URL what we are listening for bulb details, we load the DSP first in the post mapping for the bulb status. When you click on any of the buttons, the status returns, right? Now bulb details is there here. I click on ground floor switch. Yes, it's true, which we also achieved last time. Now let's click on top floor switch. Wow, it became false. Congrats. So you have built the whole application now where your bulb is becoming true or false, depending upon two switches. But let's go a little inside the code and let us see what exactly we did. How do we achieve this? So as soon as you click on the switch, top floor switch 1, we are making the status as false, right? Where are we making this? We are making it here, the value as false. When you click on this button. And then let's see. Let's do F12 and see behind the scenes what's happening. Let's go to network. Let's see bulb status. We see here now there are two parameters which are going on the form data. One is ground floor switch, which is true. One is top floor switch, which is false. Hope the font is clear, or we can make it more bigger, the font. Or what we could do is that we can do this on yeah, it's 100%, right? Let's zoom, let's make it more high, right? And then press F12 again. But here the font remains same. This is surprising. I think I should cancel the screen and then try once again. Let's go to network. Refresh. Bulb status. Okay, size remains same. I can't help with this. We do see that the switch 1 is true and top floor switch is false. Now, if I go to bulb details, click on ground floor switch, bulb is true. Click on top floor switch, bulb is false. And how we are achieving this? What we have done is in the bulb controller, we are making the status, we are sensing it, this status is false. Then we are making it here false, right? As soon as the status 1 is false, we make the status as false. So when we make the status as false, we add the attribute, model attribute status. If you remember in my previous episode, I've shown you how adding an attribute, model attribute is reflecting across the status right here. So this is what I have done in the bulb controller now, that I am adding the status here. But note this, that there are some more changes which I need to bring to your notice. We did load this top floor switch from the context of beans, because the top floor switch configuration is also there now, which we added as our second wiring. If you remember, the ground floor switch wiring and then the top floor switch wiring, right? So in my previous episode, I said that if you want to pull a wire from the ground floor switch to bulb, you have to refer to your local bin ground floor switch. A similar concept also works if you have to pull a wire from the top floor switch to the bulb. And that is what I showed you, but let's revisit this video for a flashback. I'm sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. Yeah, so I just repeat once again that, we have the ground floor switch bin, which is referred because we are pulling the wire of the ground floor switch to the bulb. Similarly, we have to pull the wire of the top floor switch to the bulb, right? Let's revisit that. Now, you see this, right? At this point, we are connecting the top floor switch to the holder, right? And this connection, the reference of this connection is which I am referring here, top floor switch. So after doing this, now what remains is that we have finished our wiring. We have transferred the model to the value to the controller using model attribute, right? Like last time what we explained. Where are we doing this? How are we transferring the model? We are doing this with the help of request param top floor switch, and we are mapping it to status 1. So as soon as you press that switch, what exactly happens? It will test this condition. As soon as this condition is met, we are going to make the status false, the attribute, right? And then we are going to set the top floor switch. That means the bulb has to talk to top floor switch to make itself off, right? We're setting top floor switch. And then the switch status, top floor switch is on, status 1. And since we are going to make the status false of the bulb, we are going to check and make this false, and then we're going to add this attribute status false. And then we return this bulb.jsp. So that is the way we are controlling the bulb state. So this is bulb details. Now click on ground floor switch, bulb is true. Click on top floor switch, bulb is false. So far so good, right? On the dependency injection, we have done around 5 episodes until now on the dependency injection. just to do a recap of how we connected to the real world. What we did, how did we start this? We started this with our staircase diagram, right? And in our staircase diagram, we took a problem. That is, every night when we come to our house late, we have to climb the staircase. So in order to resolve this problem, you've done a wiring, or bulb is here, right? We make it on, we climb. After we reach here, switch off. We did the discussion on wiring. This is our actual physical wiring. Then what did we do? We went here and we made our wiring, correct? We went to the main resources and then we opened beans.xml, and then we saw our beans.xml wiring here. Then we also analyzed in one of the episodes how to draw the objects. We made all these objects, just revising everything just for a recap. And then we made a bulb object. We made a ground floor switch. We made power supply. We made top floor switch. We still have not connected to power supply. If you are liking my videos, then you really have to give me a feedback so that I can start connecting the ground floor switch to power supply, the top floor switch to power supply. We will further work on how to make this resilient. That means if the power supply goes off, I will connect to UPS. How do I do this in the software world? So that's where, I'll bring in a design pattern as Hystrix, where if your power supply gets cut, it will still connect to UPS and it will still give you a supply to the bulb. And it keeps on checking whether the power supply has come. The moment the power supply has come, from UPS will go back to power supply. Also, we will work more on the JavaScript. We'll actually show an image of the bulb and the sound of the buttons, but if you're interested. And let me wait for your feedback. So guys, let's connect to the real world while learning and learn the smarter way. Learn the smarter and quicker way. Remember this, that I have tried to connect to a real world to make you understand what is dependency injection, so that the dependency injection concept of Spring would get printed in your brain very clearly, would sit in your brain very clear. By the way, I will be putting this code in the GitHub, for which I'm giving the link below in this. For now, all the best for you guys to study the Spring framework. And bye. But if you give me more feedback, I'm going to continue on some more episodes on this. Thank you.